My God, Thelma, this cake is delicious. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Thelma. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to Cook with Thelma. Today I'm going to show you how I made this incredibly delicious cake. My brother-in-law Dave just had a birthday and he asked me to make him a chocolate cake with white frosting. Well, I'll surprise him with a chocolate cake with flavors of apples, wine-infused pears, and a frosting of guava liqueur. So join me, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna start with our ingredients. You're gonna need 8 eggs, 6 chocolate bars, and I'm using Carlos Quinto bars, 6 teaspoons of instant coffee, 1 cup of boiling water, 2 cups of apples, peeled, cored, and cut into small pieces. I'm using a mix of sweet apples and Granny Smith apples here. We're going to use 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of vegetable oil, 2 cups and 4 teaspoons of cake flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to use 4 teaspoons of butter or vegetable shortening to butter and flour the cake pans that we're going to use. Next are the ingredients for the filling between layers: 1 cup of powdered sugar, 2 cups of peeled, cored, and sliced pears, and 1 cup of red wine. The ingredients for the frosting are 32 ounces of heavy whipping cream, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and 3 teaspoons of guava liqueur. We are going to start with preheating the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So you do that first. The next thing that you want to get out of the way is buttering and flouring 4 8-inch round cake pans. Set them aside and away from the heat of the oven, and just let them sit there until you're ready to pour the batter in those cake pans. Then we're going to start in a small bowl. You're going to mix your very hot water with the instant coffee and the chocolate bars. Go ahead and cut them into small pieces so that way it's easier for them to melt in the hot water, and just stir them a little bit so they can start to melt while you get the rest of your ingredients together. Now we're going to put our dry ingredients together. So get a large mixing bowl and make sure you sift the dry ingredients here. You're going to use the flour, the baking powder, and the baking soda, and the salt. Make sure everything is sifted, and then go ahead and mix it with a little wire whisk to make sure that all your dried ingredients are mixed well together. Okay, now we're going to get our wet ingredients together. So in a blender, combine your sugar, chocolate, coffee mix, fresh apples, and vegetable oil, and blend it until it's fully liquefied. Then we're going to start mixing our eggs. So get your mixer with the whisk attachment. Go ahead and mix those 8 eggs until they're frothy and fluffy. Now we are going to lower the speed of the mixer once the eggs are nice and fluffy and frothy. And we're going to add the dry and the wet ingredients, alternating 1/3 at a time. So you're going to add your 1/3 of your dry ingredients, mix it well, then add 1/3 of your wet ingredients, and do it again and again. When everything is fully incorporated, add 1/4 of the batter into each of the floured cake pans. By now, I'm sure your oven is fully preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Go ahead and put your cakes in the oven. And you're going to bake them for about 30 minutes. Check them after 30 minutes and make sure that when you insert a toothpick, it comes out completely clean. You insert the toothpick in the middle of the cake, and then you know your cakes are fully cooked. So remove them from the oven, set aside to cool on a wire rack, and make sure that they have cooled completely before you remove from the pans. This way it will make it easier to remove from the pans, and you don't run the risk of some of the cake getting stuck to the bottom of the pan and losing one of your layers of your cake. While our cakes are cooling, we are going to make the cake filling, and we are going to take the wine, the powdered sugar, and combine them with the wire whisk to make sure that you remove all the lumps. So you want a very smooth liquid there between the sugar and the wine. And then add the pears. Make sure the pears are fully coated with this wonderful wine juice. And now we're gonna put them in a shallow frying pan, and we're gonna bring the pears with the wine to a boil for just a second. And then we're gonna simmer them. Lower your temperature to simmer and cook until the wine has been reduced to about half of the volume that you started with, and it has turned into the consistency of syrup. When you take your stirring spoon, you bring the juice that's stuck on the back of that spoon, take a small spoon and try to make a line on that wooden spoon, and see that the little bit of syrup that you have taken with the small spoon doesn't run from the spoon. It basically creates just a heavy drop, and that's the point that you know your syrup is fully ready to be used. So take away from the heat when that happens, and pour it into a medium-sized mixing bowl and set it aside to cool completely. Now we are ready to prepare the frosting. So we're going to use the wire whisk in our mixer, and we're going to add very, very cold whipping cream, and we're going to mix it until it starts to thicken. And at that point, we're going to lower the speed so you don't end up wearing all your heavy whipping cream all over yourself. And then we can add the powdered sugar. So go ahead and increase the speed of your mixer once the powdered sugar is lightly incorporated into the whipping cream. And increase that speed back up until the whipping cream forms very firm peaks. You don't want to have a soft whipping cream that's going to fall off your cake. So make sure it's those peaks that are formed by the whisk are very firm, and the tips don't fall over to the side, that they stay firm. At that point, you know your whipping cream is ready. So you can turn off your mixer and bring your bowl over to your working area. Now we are going to actually put the cake together. We are going to take 1/3 of that whipping cream and mix with the pear and wine syrup, and set aside for a second. Bring your guava liqueur and add about 3 teaspoons, but add them one at a time, because you want to make sure that your whipping cream is solid enough or firm enough that the 3 teaspoons of guava liqueur are not going to make it too soft. Then you're going to place the first layer of your cake on either a cake decorating table or a cake dish. So you're going to put your first layer of cake, and then you're going to add a very thick layer of the pear frosting mixture, and be generous. Do about maybe an inch of frosting there, because it's got all the fruit and it's got all that wine flavors, so it's really, really good with the chocolate. So be generous with your layers in between your cake layers. And when you're done putting all that together, then we're gonna add the other frosting with the guava syrup, to the cake. And we're not going to do anything fancy with the frosting here. We're just going to add it to the top and the sides of the cake. We're not going to be doing any piping or anything like that. So go ahead and frost your cake, top, all sides, and then let it sit for about an hour before you cut it and enjoy it. If you have room in your refrigerator, put it in the refrigerator for an hour so that the frosting stays nice and firm. And then you're ready to enjoy your cake. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the making of this very grown-up cake. Please join me again next week for another show of Cook with Thelma, and we'll make something delicious and something fun. Thanks again, and please subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you here next week. Bye.